Hey, what's up, everybody? So a lot of movies came out this week, and also I had an awesome pickup that finally came in from overseas. So we're going to do some 4K reviews. We're going to talk about just the movies that came out that I picked up, and then we're going to talk about the overseas release as well, because it's a pretty awesome one. It's a pretty awesome company that it came from. Either way, let's get into it. So first one we're going to talk about is going to be Wanted on 4K. So this came out from Shout Factory. Has James McAvoy, Angelina Jolie, Morgan Freeman. It has Chris Pratt in it. You might not notice him because he definitely does not look how he looks now. He looks more of, early Parks and Rec more than anything. But, he's just a douche in this movie. He gets smacked in the face with a keyboard in this movie, which actually is an awesome scene either way. So this movie has a lot of action in it. Came out early 2000s, so of course it just seems like some of those movies in that period kind of the color tone got dumped down a little bit. So who knows, maybe the 4K bumped it up a little bit. So this 4K definitely looks a ton better than what the Blu-ray did. The old Blu-ray that came out God knows how long ago. Of course, the picture quality just looks a lot better. It's a lot cleaner, a lot crisper. Of course, you're still going to get some of that film grain here and there, but it definitely, the upkeep of that film grain, it's not as noticeable, which it's not really that old of a movie, so you're not really going to see a whole lot of film grain regardless, but it definitely looks a lot better. Again, like I said, this movie, it's got Dolby Vision. It's a new master for the 4K. It looks a ton better. There are a couple scenes here and there. Like I said, the movie itself, the picture is just kind of, the colors are muted, almost it seems like, but when they're driving, the bright red Ferrari, that's one scene where you definitely see the Dolby Vision kind of push those colors out, and you see it's a really crisp red. It definitely looks a lot better. Colors overall look good. Again, there's not a lot of them to look at, but when you do see them, they do look a lot better. The picture looks a lot cleaner. It's not as kind of, that old Blu-ray fuzzy-ishness. And then the skin tone definitely, it gives you a more actual colored skin tone. It's not like that, again, early, 2000s, 2010s, how that Blu-ray used to have kind of like that orangish tint almost to it for most Blu-rays. Kind of made that color look a little wonky or weird. This definitely cleans that up. So you do only get a DTS HD 5.1. They did not upgrade it to that, so unfortunately no Atmos, but I mean, yeah, I feel like this probably would benefit a lot from an Atmos track. There's a lot, if you've seen this movie, there's a lot of gunfire, they're bending bullets, there's a lot of explosions, there's a lot of everything in this movie that I feel like an Atmos track definitely would help this movie and this soundtrack. But either way, it still sounds great. Again, I always say I only have, a sound bar and a subwoofer. I don't have anything crazy, so this sounds great to me. Honestly, I would like an upgrade to Dolby Atmos, and I feel like every time a movie gets a 4K release, for the most part, it should get Dolby Atmos, but I know, technicalities here and there. I know Shout Factory has been killing it with a lot of their 4K releases, so keep them coming. Alright, next up, we are going to have The Exorcist 3. So again, this came out at the same time Wanted came out. Unfortunately, Amazon delivered mine a day late. I don't know why, I don't ask questions. Either way, I threw this on the TV as quick as I could because I wanted to see how this looked. So you get the theatrical cut on Blu-ray and 4K on here. Of course, it's a new 4K from the original camera negatives, so that's definitely a plus. And then also you get the Legion director's cut, which I think is like 3 hours long, but you only get that on Blu-ray. I know some people think, if we're paying, I can't remember how much this was, $27 to $32, I think that's the price range. If we're paying that much, you think you'd want to get every version of the movie on 4K. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I enjoy Legion, the director's cut. I think it kind of makes it not really an Exorcist movie. I know the studio really pushed to make this an Exorcist movie, and it, of course, the ending, and that's kind of different, and it kind of changes the whole tone of the movie. They just had to really hammer that Exorcist one because everybody loves that movie. It's a cult classic, so that's why you get the director's cut. Watch it. It's long, but it's definitely worth it. And again, of course, you get Dolby Vision for this. And again, this looks fantastic. This is the best this movie's ever going to look. I mean, I don't think... It looked extremely crisp. You have the blacks look great, especially in the darker scenes when you're in the cell and you're talking to, the killer or the demon or devil or whatever you want to call him. When you're in the cell and, you have Brad Dourif, which I think this is one, if not the best thing Brad Dourif has ever done. He just absolutely kills it in this role. If you haven't seen this movie, see this movie. It's fantastic. I love the director's cut too. Some people prefer a theatrical over director and vice versa, but I just enjoy them both. Just watch them both. Either way, when you're in that scene and it's really dark and you kind of get a close-up of just his face, that's all you see. There's no backlight. There's nothing. It's just pure black. And you see Brad Dourif's face. Of course, you get the iconic devil eyes that are all yellow. And it looks crisp. It looks really good. So I definitely, if you don't own this movie, buy it. If you own this movie and you want to upgrade to 4K because you love you just love this movie, definitely pick this movie up and pick the 4K up because it's great. And I mean, for the price, you get 2 copies of the movie. You get the director's cut. You get the 4K, the theatrical, and the Blu-ray of the theatrical as well. I think it's worth it. I know sometimes they do certain movies where they literally just do the 4K and still try and charge $30. But that's just me griping. And last but not least, definitely not least, we have Martin on 4K. So this came from Second Sight Films. I do have somewhere back here, should be up on top still, but I have the Second Sight releases of Dawn of the Dead, which is absolutely amazing. I have the Second Sight release of Drive, which again is amazing. And then now, we have Martin. So this, of course, it's not as thick and, filling as the other releases that they did, but unfortunately, this is it's a smaller movie. I feel like everybody knows Dawn of the Dead. Drive was a huge movie. So this is still available on their website, this actual chunky, beefy guy here. I believe it's $54, $60 with shipping, somewhere around there. But it is definitely well worth it. This came out, I think, right after, The Crazies, Night of the Living Dead came out before this. There's Always Vanilla, Season of the Witch. So George Romero had at least directing credit and titles underneath his belt. So this was written and directed by him. Of course, it's got a little nice cameo with him in there. It's got Tom Savini in there. I mean, it's a great movie. Alright, so let's get into these because, of course, just like the other releases, these have some extras. So they have kind of these little cue cards or photo cards. So, of course, we have the main actor. We have the uncle, Tom Savini. Look how young and how young. He just looks old now, but it still looks good. Still looks good. So if he sees this, I'm sorry. We got a young George Romero, the leading lady or the girlfriend or, whoever you want to call her. And then the awesome thing in here too, of course, we get this book and it has, it's going to be hard to show you, but it's got writings of, it's a book. You know what a book is. But it's got different writings behind the scenes. It's got interviews with different actors and stage crew people, stuff like that. I'll go a little right here in the middle. It has behind the scenes photos. See if I can get it. I'll pick that up. But yeah, it's got behind the scenes stuff. So, it's got Second Sight does an amazing job with their releases. Anything Second Sight, I will buy with confidence. I absolutely love this company. This did get delayed, I think a month, maybe 2 months or so. I pre-ordered it back in, I think, December or November, somewhere around there. And of course, it just got to me now. I think it was supposed to be out in February, but then they basically sent out an email saying, hey, whoever already pre-ordered this, we did have a hiccup with it. We just want to let everybody know that we want to put out the best product for everybody. So that way there's no reason for anybody to try and contact us to, get a reprint of a copy of the movie or anything like that. So this company definitely, they took the time, they always take the time to put an A+ effort into all of their releases. So of course, I know we've had stuff with Scream Factory and a couple of different companies where, they'll reprint a lot of their, discs. Even the Friday the 13th from Scream Factory, they had issues with. So that's why I like Second Sight. They do a great job, and they will let you know, hey, something happened. We don't want to put it out. We're going to redo this, or this. So Second Sight, whenever you guys put a printing out or a movie or whatever you do that I enjoy, I'm going to pick it up. And then, of course, we have the soundtrack on CD. We have the Blu-ray that has a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff as well. And then we have the 4K copy of the movie as well. So this copy, regardless, it looks great, but it is a older movie. I think it came out in 1977. So there is a lot of film grain. He filmed, I think he even said himself, he has a 3-hour cut of this movie on 16 millimeter. So, of course, unfortunately, that cut got lost somewhere. He said it was sitting in a warehouse and it just disappeared. So, unfortunately, we would never see that. I know that did have a couple things here and there in the movie that he was talking about that he wanted to put into the movie, but he couldn't because of time restraint and money and all of that. But either way, this movie is great. If you've never seen it, it's basically a guy named Martin. He kind of goes to live with his uncle in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, of course, because, that's kind of that's George Romero's backyard. So, of course, that's where he's done a lot of his movies at. And, he thinks he's a vampire, and other people think he's a vampire, but maybe he's not a vampire and he's just a serial killer. So that's kind of up in the air. There's clues to tell you one thing or the other. So it really kind of leaves it up to the viewer to kind of think, oh yeah, he was a vampire, or no, he's just a serial killer and kills people. So, basically he goes to Pittsburgh and kind of meets someone, a love interest, and kind of wants to think, should I be doing this, or should I do it for... Basically, he thinks maybe I should become Dexter and only kill villains or bad guys. So there's like that inner struggle with him going on. And of course, with his new girlfriend, with his uncle who thinks he's a vampire. So there's a whole lot going on. I will say, if you watch the trailer kind of doesn't sell the movie as well as it should. So definitely pick this up. I'm sure you can watch it somewhere if you don't want to pick up, a whole huge box set of this movie. But either way, this movie should be enjoyed. It's definitely one of George Romero's earlier movies, and it's very enjoyable. Alright, with that being said, those were my 3 main pickups this week. I know there were a couple things here or there. Dead Silence came out, Planes came out, but... I watched Dead Silence once, and I'm alright. I don't think I ever need to watch that movie again. Either way, what did you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. What did you guys think of, the 3 titles that I picked up? Would you pick them up? Did you pick them up? Because I know a lot of people definitely picked up The Exorcist 3. Let me know, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, do all that fun stuff. Like I said, leave it down in the comment section below. We'll have a huge discussion on which movies you liked, which ones you didn't. 4Ks, Blu-rays, anything you want to comment, get crazy with it down there. And we will see you guys in another video.